Hey guys, welcome back to GWiz Academy. So now, from today onwards, we are going to start a new series where we will be learning a world's #1 programming language, that is nothing but Python. So by definition, Python is a higher level general purpose programming language. It is designed blah 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 blah. So we are not going to read all this bookish definition and all. So the first thing is Python is a #1 programming language in the world. Right now it is the top language, and the average salary of a Python developer in India is around in between somewhere between 2 lakhs to 9 lakhs per year, and in US you will be paid somewhere around $100,000, right? So it is extremely important for you to learn Python if you are serious about your web development journey or your career as a software developer. Either you want to become web developer or a software developer or web application developer or a blockchain developer or data science engineer or data scientist or some, or you, in case if you want to enter into machine learning, artificial intelligence and stuff like that. For all these things, even for game development, right? So for all these things, you need to have a strong foundation in this programming language that is called as Python, right? So the current version is the stable version is Python 3, but still Python 2 is also very much relevant in various organizations, right? So in this course, we will be covering the Python 3. Okay. So this is going to be the introduction video. This is a very small, brief introduction. I'm sure that if you're watching this video, then you already know more about Python, why we should learn Python, and what is the use of Python and all those things. So we'll be, without wasting any time, we will be starting our chapters. So let me quickly show you what is the plan, how we are going to learn complete Python. So as you can see on the screen right now, I have listed chapters. So I have made a list of 20 chapters that we will be covering under Python basics, Python for beginners, right? So once we complete this 1 to 20th chapter, that is still arrays, loops, lists, tuples, and Booleans, strings, casting, all these concepts, once we cover till 20th chapter, then we will be entering into next series where we'll be learning about advanced Python concepts like object-oriented Python or regex and JSON and scopes and stuff like that. We'll be learning all those things in our next series. So in this series, we are going to cover from introduction to arrays. Okay. So this is the list that we will be covering. These are the chapter names. So yeah, if you have any questions related to what is Python and why we should learn Python, then you can, I'm already sure that you already know all these things, but still, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section or in the discussion forum. I'll try to answer you as quick as possible, right? So in our next chapter, this was a very brief introduction about Python. So in our next chapter, we are going to go ahead and set up the environment on our laptop or PC, and then we'll start learning from chapter 4. Okay, so if you already have installed Python on your system and if you already know how to do comments and basic syntax of Python, then you can skip these 2 chapters and directly start from chapter 4. But in case if you are a total beginner and if you are this is the first time you are learning any programming language, then I recommend you watch the second and third step as well. Okay, second chapters and third chapters as well, right? So this was a brief introduction on Python language, and let's get started without wasting any time, right? See you inside. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back to GWiz Academy. So let's get started with our second chapter where we will be doing the environment setup. What is this environment setup? We need a development environment to be set up on our local computer. So right now on my PC, we need to have certain things in place before we start writing code in Python. So let me first quickly close all these tabs. Okay. The first thing that we need is a code editor, IDE, Integrated Development Environment. So what is this IDE? if you have watched my other previous front-end course, then you already know that we use VS Code editor. So first thing that you need to do is there are so many code editors online, but even you can use online code editors as well, but let's go with VS Code. That is what I'll be using in this whole course. So I recommend you to go ahead and download VS Code. You simply need to type VS Code here in Google and you'll be able to download this, and based on your laptop or operating system and PC operating system, right? So based on your environment, you can go ahead and download and install. Installation is as simple as that. You can simply, if it is on Windows, then simply just need to download the setup installer and continue, right? You need to go ahead and download and install based on your PC or Mac or Linux operating system. And then the second thing, right now I have already installed VS Code on my system, right? So the first thing is you need to install this code editor. Once this code editor is installed, the second thing that you need to do is, by default you will have Python already installed on your computer. But how do you check that? Okay, let me quickly minimize all these things. First thing is you need to go to your command line interface. So let me go to my command line interface. You simply need to type cmd.exe, and as soon as this screen command line interface command prompt gets opened, what you need to type, you simply need to type py and hit enter. This is an error that we just now got. Py is not recognized as an internal or external command. Okay, let's try Python and hit enter. Still, Python is not recognized as an internal or external command operable program or batch file. So what does this mean? This means that right now in my PC, Python is not available. So how do you first install Python? So for that, what you need to do, if you see any version history or version of Python here, then rest assured that you have Python already installed in your computer, so you don't have to go further from here. You can skip this video and watch the next video. But in case if you too got this type of error, that means that you don't have Python in your system. So let's go ahead and download Python. So how to download Python? Simply type Python and visit the official website of Python. So here under downloads, here you need to click on this button, Python 3.11.1, and click on save file. Let the installer get downloaded. I guess I have already downloaded this file, so I'll not download it again, or yeah, let it be downloaded. Let it get downloaded. All right, so I have already downloaded this file one already. So I'll double click and run the installer. So here in this first prompt, what you need to do is you need to check this box, add python.exe to path, right? You make sure that you select this checkbox and click on install now. You can go ahead and customize the installation, but right now I assume that you are learning Python for the first time, and you are learning this as your first programming language. So I recommend you to go ahead with this option, right? Install now. Just wait for the installation to get completed. Just allow all the prompts. So now Python is getting installed on our Windows. Again, based on your operating system, if it is Windows or if it's Mac, then accordingly you need to download the compatible Python version, right? Either you can go ahead with the latest release or the last release before the latest recent pre-releases before this general release. You can go ahead and download any of the stable releases. That doesn't matter. Perfect. So Python installation was successful. Now simply close this tab. Let's close this tab as well. Let's minimize this one. And now what we will do, close this command prompt as well. Let's open the command prompt once again. And here, now let's go ahead and try to type py and hit enter. See, before we got an error that py is not a recognized program or something like that, right? So but now what we are getting is Python 3.11.1 is installed. So this is the Python version. This is how we check Python version, right? So as soon as you type py, we have entered the Python mode. Perfect. So now what did we do in this video? We have first installed the IDE. If you already have IDE, what is IDE? It's nothing but a code editor. So there is a difference between code editor and IDE, but yeah, to write programs we need IDE. So Visual Code is what we have downloaded, and in that Visual Code we'll be writing our code. And the second thing is we needed Python. So it was not already by default installed. So what I did is we went and downloaded Python in our PC. So now we have checked whether the Python is installed or not. This is how we check Python, whether if it is installed or not. And then now that we have entered our Python mode, so what we need to do is let's go ahead and write our first program. And this is universal, right? We write hello world program. So in Python, to write a program, how simple is it? It is just see. We just need to type print space curly braces and then parenthesis, just open and close, and then double inverted comma, and then inside which we will write, hey, this is my first program. Okay, and now click on enter. That's it. You have successfully written your first program in Python, right? So as you can see, we just printed this message here, right? So whatever we write inside this print and parenthesis and inverted comma, it will be printed over here. So just see, Python is intelligent enough to calculate numbers, as to do maths as well. So let's see, print, let's say 25 plus 27, the result will be 52. And let's say print my name is Rakesh, parenthesis close, it will print my name is Rakesh. Now in case if you want to print this exact term 25 plus 27 itself, you don't want this Python to do maths and print the output, right, to do the calculations and stuff like that. You just simply want this 25 plus 27 to be printed. So what you will write, print parenthesis open close, and then you need to use double inverted commas here, and then inside which you need to type 25 plus 27. Now Python will recognize it as a string and it will not calculate anything. So don't worry about this inverted comma, double inverted comma, and all those things. All those things we will cover in our future chapters. So you don't have to worry about anything right now. So right now what is important for you to see here is it's as simple as that. Just in one line we have written our first program in Python. Congratulations. So what is the program? Print hello world. So this program will print hello world as an output. So successfully hello world has been printed. That's it. It's as simple as that. Okay. So congratulations, we have installed Python, we have installed our IDE, we have written our first Python program, and in our future videos or in our future chapters, we will learn in-depth concepts of Python programming language, right? So let's get started. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions till now, please let me know in the comment section or in the description below, right? So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next chapter. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back to GWiz Academy. So now let's get started with our next chapter, where we will be seeing a very basic syntax and how to add comments, and then we can start with our concepts in Python. So now what you need to do, we need to create a folder in which we will be creating all these chapters, or we will be I'll be creating a new file for each and every chapter, and then I'll be adding several examples and all those things. So anyways, so first thing, now what you need to do is you can go ahead and create a folder on whichever location you want. Right now I have created a folder called Pythonforbeginners 2023. Okay, so and this is this folder location. I'll copy this folder location, and what I need to do is create a folder. You can create folder anywhere, and then what you need to do, open your code editor, right? IDE. So we have installed VS Code, so type VS Code in your search bar and open VS Code editor. Okay, so I have already opened it, and this will be something the first screen that you will be seeing, right? So what you need to do, close this get started option, and now under files, click on open folder, and then here you need to paste your file location. So basically what we are doing is search for the folder that you have created and click on that particular folder and select that folder, so that that particular folder will get opened in our code editor. Okay, so let's delete this get started page. Okay, now here on the left side, if you will be able to see the 4 tabs. Python for beginners, this is the folder that we have opened right now in our editor. Okay, and then what else, outline, timeline, and open editor. Whatever files and folders which we will be working, those will be opened under this tab. Anyways, let's get started. So the first thing is how to create files in this particular folder. So you won't be seeing this thing called as recording, because recording is nothing but a folder inside this particular folder. So I have one file and one folder. So the same is being displayed here as well, one folder and one file. So you won't be seeing these two over your first time when you will be opening this one. This recording is nothing but the video that I'm currently recording. Those will be stored inside this particular folder. So you won't be seeing this folder for in your PC. So you can simply ignore that. And what about this one? This is a file that you should have. So you need to create a file. So how to create a file? Simply right click here and click on new file and introduction. I cannot rename the same name, so I'll type introduction1. And what you need to do, how to save this as a Python file, simply add an extension called as .py. That's it. .py is a Python file extension, and click on enter. As soon as you type enter, the file will be generated, and if you see in your folder, the new file is also generated here as well, right? So let me quickly delete this file. It is not needed for me. I already have a file. So let me open this file, and as you can see, I have some content over here. So till now, what did we see? Let me remove this one. So till now, what did we see? We saw how to create this folder and open this folder inside our VS Code editor, right? And the next thing is how to create a Python file. So we have successfully created a Python file by just adding an extension called as .py. Now, two most important thing that we need to focus here is, first thing is indentation. Indentation is extremely important, and use pound symbol to add comments. As you can see, I have added some text over here. Getting started with Python is, first thing you need to do, what you need to download IDE or download Python, or write your first code in command line and create a folder and open an IDE. All these things that we just now did, I have written it in just note format, so that you can refer it in case in future if you want to revise or something, right? So, but this text can be used as a reference for yourself, not as a code. This is not a code, right? So this is a comment that I have added in this particular file that is called as introduction.py. So how will Python understand that if it is a code or comment? Python will understand it by this term called as this symbol that we have used before every sentence. Before every sentence, as you can see, this is a pound symbol that we have used. If you remove this pound symbol, now this particular text here that has been typed will be considered as a Python code, but it is not a code, right? It is a simple text that we have written. Let's add a pound symbol, and now this is a comment. So the first thing is you need to add pound symbol for every line wherever you want to add comment. And second point is indentation is extremely important in Python, else Python will reflect errors. So I won't show you examples. I will show you examples in our later chapters, because if I show you examples without explaining you various other concepts, then you might feel confused. So indentation is nothing but just a space, right? So how space is extremely important, we will see in our future lectures, but for now you need to understand that indentation is extremely important. Second thing is, use this pound symbol hashtag whenever you want to add a comment. Okay, so these are the two things that I wanted to highlight here, and this note will be saved, and I'll attach this particular file as well in the description of this video, so you can go ahead, download it, and you can save it for the future reference as well, right? So in our next video, we'll see how to add variables, how to create variables in Python, and other concepts in Python, right? So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back to GWiz Academy. In this video, we are going to talk about variables. What is variables and how to use variables? That is what we are going to see in this video, right? Okay. See, no matter what programming language you will be learning in future, right now we are learning Python. No matter what language you will be learning in future after Python as well, even if you are trying to learn PHP or Java or JavaScript or some random programming language, in each and every programming language, you will come across this word called as variable. So what exactly is this variable and why do we use variable? That is what you need to understand. And once you understand what exactly is this variable, and then you need to understand what is the syntax of using variable in that particular programming language. No matter what is the syntax, basic functionality of a variable is same no matter what programming language you learn. Okay, all right. So what is variable? Variable is nothing but it's a container in the sense, let's just try to visualize a plastic bucket or something, or a plastic box or something, which holds, if you are considering a plastic bucket, then you hold water in it. We can keep water in it, or we can store bricks in it, or we can store sand in it, or we can store books in it, whatever it is, just a container which holds some material in it, right? So in that way, here that particular bucket is nothing but variable. So what variable does in a program is it carries a material from one place to another place, or by using that particular bucket we can manipulate the material or add some other material. In programming language, variable is a small memory container which holds the data. Same way how a bucket is holding water, same way here the bucket can be considered as variable and water can be considered as a data. So variable is nothing but a container that holds the data. If you just visualize a bucket of water, bucket is nothing but a container, or we can call it as a variable that is holding water called as data, right? It's the simplest definition that I can give you. And now you can say that a bucket can hold water, but also a bucket can hold sand, or we can keep bags or books or whatever it is. A bucket can hold multiple types of data. So that is what is called as data types. There are 8 different types of data which we call as data types in Python, that we will look into that later on. But right now you can understand that how we can go ahead and create this variable. So first thing that we need to understand is how to create variable in Python. So let's assume, let's create a variable called as name. Okay, it's as simple as that. The variable name is created as soon as you assign some value in it. What is my name? Rakesh. So I'll assign a data. So here this is a bucket, and let's assume this is water. Okay, water in the sense this is a data that is inside a variable called as name. This is a bucket and this is water. Same way we can create a variable called as bucket, inside which we are having a data called as water. So, and you can ask me, you can say that a bucket can hold different types of data as well, right now here, as you can see, this data is nothing but a string in the sense it's a word, alphabetical word, right? So same way variable can hold numbers as well. See, let me create a variable called as age. This variable will hold a number, not the word exactly. It will hold a number called as 29. So my age is 29, so age is 29. So what we did here, we created three variables and we assigned a value to it. So inside name we have Rakesh, inside bucket we have water, inside age we have number called as 29. Here we can have let's say decimal numbers as well. Let's say a variable called as DEC, decimal, that represents decimal, or whatever name you can call, you can assign for a variable. And then let's say 10.3435 or something, right? So right now what we did is we created four variables and we assigned values. As you can see, whenever we assign values that are in alphabetical order, or say words or sentence, we need to use this double quotation mark. Okay, inside the double quotation we need to add that particular word or sentence whenever we use. But whenever we use numbers or decimal, we don't have to use any double quotation. This is a simple syntax in Python. So now what we have learned how to create and assign values to our variables. That's it. Now coming to the second concept. Let's say if I say you that we have created a variable and I have assigned a value, but is there a way to analyze it? Is there a way to print it out? Let's say if someone asks me, or if someone asks me that hey, you just said that you added this particular water inside bucket, so can I just verify whether actually this variable called as bucket is holding this particular data called as water? Or let's say if someone asks me that you just said that this data called as 29 is inside the variable called as age, so can we just check whether exactly age variable contains this particular data? Obviously we can check. What we can do is we can simply print out age, print the output of age, and see in output we get 29 or not. Same way we can print name and see whether we get an output of Rakesh or not. Let's say, what is the print syntax, printing syntax? The syntax is simple. Just type print and use parenthesis, start parenthesis, close parenthesis. It's as simple as that. And now inside this, what we need to write, we simply name this variable. We can simply write the name of this particular variable name. That's it. What is this name? This is nothing but this text from here, right? So let's save it and run this command. As you can see, our output is Rakesh. I just printed this one, print name. It is, our program is printing Rakesh here, in the sense Rakesh is inside this variable called as name. Same way, if I print decimal, what should come? The value of decimal should be printed. Run the program. See, 10.35. Same way, if I print let's say age, what should be printed? 29 should be printed, right? So 29, this is the output. So basically the thing is, variable is storing this particular data inside it. That is what variable is meant for. By using this method, we can use this particular variable in various process or various logics or functions that we will go on, that we will dive deep into in our later lectures. But for now, we need to understand that variable is nothing but a container or a storage block that holds certain data inside it. The data can be of different types. The different data types, we will look into it in our later videos, but for now you can simply understand we can store name, we can store words or sentence or numbers or decimals. That's it. Or any particular expression, we can save it in a variable. That is what is called as variable, and we can simply call that particular variable with its name and print it out by using this print function. And what is function? Don't worry, we will see that in later videos. Okay. Now, the third concept that you need to understand is identify the data type and print it. First thing is we need to identify the data type. Here, as you can see, we are using word. It's a English word. My name is printed in Rakess, so it is a word that we call as string. If it is a alphanumeric, whatever it is, then alphanumeric we call it as a string. Whenever we use alphabets or mix of alphabets and numbers, then we call it as a string. Okay, so if the data is just numbers, then we call it as integer. If it is having some decimal value, then we call it as float data type. These are the three types of data types right now. More data types we will see in our later videos, but for now these are the three data types. First is if we are using word or English word or sentence, then we consider it as a string, and if it is a pure number, then we call it as an integer, and if we have let's say any decimal value, then we call it as float. But this is just I am telling you verbally, right? So how will what if I want to check it uh, through code? We can do that as well by using a function called as type. This type function will check what is the data type of a particular variable. How to use this particular function? Simply we use this type function and enter the particular variable name that we want to check its data type. So let's say I want to check the data type of particular age. So I'll type age. Now save it, save this, and let's go and run this code, and let's see, nothing has been printed because it is checking. The code is obviously checking whether what is the data type of this particular variable, but it is not getting printed out. So to print, what is the function that we need to use? Print parenthesis, right? Start and close parenthesis. And here if you see, I need to copy this entire thing and paste it inside this. Now if I save and run this code, you will find this output called as class integer. Int represents integer. Okay, the same thing what I'll do, I'll try to analyze what is the data type of other variable. Let's say we'll use test what is the data type of this variable called as bucket. And save it. Okay, now run the code. Okay, so this shows that it is string. So this way we can ask Python what is, hey, what is the data type of a particular variable. If this is your exercise, or if someone asks you test what is the data type of this particular variable, then we can simply use this type function and print function to print that output. We can use type function to analyze what is the data type, and we can use print function to print out that particular result on our output, in our output. Okay, same way if I print let's say age, or let's say decimal, DEC, we should get what? Float. We should get the output called as float, right? So here what is happening is we are using type function inside print function. Why do we use type function? Type function will help in analyzing what is the data type, and it will analyze, but it will not print in our output. So to print it inside our output, what we will do, we will use a function called as print. I guess this concept is also clear. Okay, so coming to next concept, typecasting. What is typecasting? Here we can do something interesting with the variable which holds number in it. Number in the sense integer in it. Let's say age is 29. Now if I say print parenthesis type of, what is the type of age here? So it should be integer, right? Integer, obviously. But observe it here. If I type age equals to str string and use parenthesis and add this data called as 29, now if I save it, and I can use the same code again to check what is the data type now. The data type of this particular age is now changed to string. So let's verify it. Run this code, you will get string. In the sense, as soon as I use this function called as str and parenthesis, it is converting the integer into string. Same way we can convert, let's say age equals to, let's assign float, and then type this number 29. Now what is it doing is it is changing integer data type to float data type. So if I use the same code and paste it here, it will give the age is now float data type. See, float data type. So this is extremely useful functions. We call it as constructor function. You don't have to worry what is function and what is constructor function. Those things we will see in our later videos, but for now just understand that we can change the data type as well, how our Python code is interpreting. Here as you can see, our code directly interprets it as a number, but here we are specifically telling Python that, hey, don't consider this as a number, consider this as a string. Here we are telling Python, hey, don't consider this as a number, consider this as a float. As soon as we specifically type it by using this construct function, the Python will obviously consider this as a float or consider this as a string, right? This is how we can change one data type to another data type, and this is what this concept is called as typecasting or casting or type conversions. Okay, so I hope this concept is also clear under variables. Now let's go to the next concept. What is the next concept? Assigning multiple values to multiple variables in a single line. Let's say these are the multiple variables. Okay, so as you can see, I took 4 lines of code. I utilized 4 lines to create 4 variables and assign them 4 values, right? So what I can do is, let's say I can use just single line. I can create all these 4 variables and assign values to it. How to do that? I'll tell you. So what you need to do, just use comma separated bucket, comma separated age, comma separated decimal. Okay, now here as well you separate it with comma and add water and add 29 and add 10.35. That's it. It's as simple as that. Now what will happen? Name will catch this Rakesh, bucket will catch this water, age will catch this 29, and decimal will catch this 10.35. This is how you can create, or let's say if you still doubt it whether this is true or not, just verify. Let's verify. Let's comment it out, these values, or let it be. Let's scroll down here. Rakesh 2, water 2, 29 2, 10.354. Let's use like this. Okay, just we change the value so that you are it is clear that these are not coinciding with these values. Okay, so I have created 4 variables and I have assigned 4 data to these variables. Now let's verify. Now I'll just print, let's say I simply want to print the value of age in the output. Let me save it and now go ahead and run. If I run the program, I can see the output as 292. In the sense, age has catched this value 294. In the sense, 294 data is inside age. So same way, if I say print bucket, it should show me water 2. Water 2. Okay, I'm sorry. Print bucket. Okay. If I print this bucket, let me see the output. Run the command. Water 2. right? So I hope this is clear. So this way we don't have to use multiple lines to create multiple variables. We can simply use a single line to create multiple variables. And don't try to use 4 variables here and 3 values here. It will show you an error, because variables are only created as soon as you assign some data. If you keep it empty, it won't be created, or empty data, empty variable will return false, right? So it is prone to errors. All right, so this concept is clear. Now let's go ahead and learn the last concept. That is nothing but printing out multiple values using single print function. As you can see here, if I can go ahead and try to print, let's say, name, and see what is the output. The output is, as you can see, Rakesh 2. Okay, fine. So now in this next concept is, in earlier concept I have used 3 lines to print the output. Okay, 3 lines, and I have repeated the same function, print, 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 again and again. So why not use print function just once? And if you want to print all these 3, just use the name of those variables, age space bucket space name. Simple. You don't have to use multiple lines to print multiple data. So what I can do is, let me see if this does the job. Let me save it, and let's run the code. What does it do? 292, water 2, and Rakesh 2. This is printing multiple data in a single line by using single print method. The same thing you can do by using one more option, print age plus bucket plus name. You can do like this as well. This is called as concatenation. Okay, so you can do this as well if you run the code, but the issue is here, you cannot use 2 different types of data. In the sense, age is integer, and the bucket and name is string. So you cannot use concatenation for different data types. So in case if you want to change the if you want to use this plus symbol, then what you need to do, you need to use it inside. You need to first change the data type of this age by using this method, where converted it into different we try to convert it into different data type, and then we can use this plus symbol and print out all the data. Anyways, we'll look into this in our future videos, so don't worry about it. But all you need to understand here is, we can use single print function to print multiple values. We don't have to use multiple print function again and again, right? So this concept is also clear. So we have learned our basic concepts in variable. This is a first video, right? So I'll try to keep it short and brief as well. We will anyways be working with variables continuously in our future videos, so you'll get a complete understanding of what exactly it is, and what are the different ways that we can go ahead and use it. Now there are some naming syntax whenever you are creating. As you can see, I created these names randomly, right? So but there are some rules that you need to follow to create variables as well. You should not be creating variables name starting with numbers. You cannot create a variable with starting number, right? This is a rule, this is a syntax, else Python will throw an error. You cannot use a special characters as well in the beginning, or just underscore is allowed, but again, I strongly recommend not to use it. And special characters also are not allowed. And variables are case sensitive, as you can see, small lowercase Rakesh and camel case Rakesh is considered as a different variable. So it's a case sensitive, so make sure you write these variable names carefully because it is case sensitive. So this is pretty much it that you need to understand about variable. And here, don't worry if you didn't understand how to use this print function or how to use this type function or how we converted this to different data types. What is data types? What is function? What is concatenation? Uh, these are all the terms that you will be keeping on hearing from now onwards. Don't get overwhelmed. It is extremely easy concept to understand. But yeah, I can understand that if you're watching this video for the first time off, or if this is the first programming language that you're learning in your life, then this can be slightly overwhelming. Try to watch this video again and again, once or twice. Okay, so and don't try to memorize these things at all. You don't have to memorize anything. I'll make sure these concepts get imbibed into your head. Okay, don't try to memorize anything. If you get any question or if you get any doubt, please let me know in the Q&A section. And also make sure that you practice the video. Whatever I am doing in a video, just make sure that you do the same thing practically, not just watching the video. You should do it practically in your Visual Studio Code, and make sure that you get a hang of these concepts practically along with watching these videos, right? So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next video with one more concept on Python programming language. Hey guys, welcome back to GWiz Academy. All right, so in our last video we have learned what is variables and why do we use variables. Why do we use variables? In the sense, like variables are nothing but a container that holds the data in it so that we can do stuff. In the sense, we can process the data based on our programming language, right? So that is what variables are. More examples and logics and all those things we will see very soon. But for now, that is what variable is. And now that we know what exactly is variable, what is variable? Variable is a container that stores the data. Now, when it comes to storing the data, this data can be of different types, right? Data will be different types or in different formats, right? So by default, Python has some built-in data types. Data types in the sense, data can be number, data can be a text, data can be a complex number, data can be an array or Boolean, right? So there are different types of data available. So one by one we will go on and dive deep, and we will study all the data types one by one. But for now, you need to understand that in Python we have default 8 data types. Okay, so what are those data types? First is text type, text data type. Second is numeric data type. Third is sequence data types. Fourth is mapping data type. Fifth is set data types. Sixth is Boolean data types. Seventh is binary data types, and then none type. If it doesn't fit any of these data types, then it is considered as none types. These are the most important default built-in Python data types. So under text data type, what kind of data is categorized as text data type? If the data is string, then we consider it as a text data type. And why are these important? These are important for our analysis, and these are all the exact data types. So if a text, if there is the data which we are storing inside a variable is a string, then we call it as a text data type. If the data that we are storing inside the variable is integer or float or complex number, then we call it as a numeric data type. Let's say this is x is a variable, and in that variable we are storing a string called as Rakesh. So now what we did, we are saving the string called as Rakesh inside the variable called as x, right? So this Rakesh is nothing but a data that is being stored in the variable. So this data is string. So now we tell this variable as a variable that holds the data. Which type of data? Text data type. Now the same thing, if the variable x is holding let's say a number 45, then it is an integer, right? So then we say it as a which data type it is. It is a numeric data type, right? And if in case x holds a float value that is nothing but 45.001 or something like that, then we call it as a, still we consider it as a numeric data type. And then in case it holds a complex number, what is complex number? If x is equal to 24j or x or y, something like that, right? So then it is a complex number. It doesn't count as an integer or a float value, right? So we call it as a numeric value. Similarly, we have list data type, tuples data type, range data type, and so on. And on the left hand side, we are seeing these are the categories of data types. First category is text data type, numeric data type, sequence data type, mapping type, set types, Boolean types, binary types, and so none type. So one by one, we will enter into, we will learn about string data types. We'll then enter into integer, float, complex, list, tuples, range, dict. Dict is nothing but dictionary. It represents dictionary, right? Set, frozen set, Boolean, bytes, byte array, memory view, and none type. We will learn all these things one by one. If you are watching this video, or if this is the first programming course for you, then please don't get overwhelmed by the terminologies that I'm using. Okay, so till now there are only two terminologies that you need to know. First terminology is something that we have learned in the last video, that is variable. Okay, what is variable and how to create variable, right? And now in this video we just saw data types. Data types are of 8 categories in Python by default built in. So what are the eight categories of data types? Text data type, numeric data type, sequence data type, mapping data type, set data type, Boolean data type, binary data type, and none data type. So we will go and see various examples and how to work with all those data types and stuff like that in our future videos. But for now, these are the categories of data types. And inside a text data type, how many data types are there? String data type. If a variable is having a string data, then we consider it inside a string data type, right? Similarly, integer, float, complex, list, tuples, range, dictionary, set, frozen set, Boolean, stuff like that. We'll go through and learn about these things one by one, right? So yeah, don't get overwhelmed. You can just understand. You don't have to memorize any of these things. You don't need to memorize any of these things. Just understand that if it is integer or float or complex, then we consider it under numeric data types. Okay, so whenever we learn any programming language, all we need to know is how to create variables and how to work with variables, how to create data types, what types of data are available in that particular programming language. This is data types are there in programming language, and how to create loops and how to create functions. That's it. It's the basic of any programming language. Now we have understood variables, and now we need to understand data types. We need to go through each of these data types one by one and learn about these things, right? So in this course, I will go through each data type one by one, right? No hurries. We will go through one by one, step by step. We will dive deep into these concepts and learn. Okay, so I will save this file as well, and in our one by one chapter, in our next chapter, one by one we will tackle these data types as well. We will see several examples and learn more about it, right? So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. If you don't understand, please let me know in the comment section below, or if you find difficulty in understanding these things, please let me know in the comment sections. And don't worry, you simply have to understand this video. If you could not understand anything, please watch it once again. If you still did not understand anything, let me know in the comment section. I'll try to explain once again. And make sure you watch the complete series before you ask questions, because several times what happens is you will get answers in next video or next chapter or succeeding chapters, right? So yeah, we will go through one by one: string, integer, float, complex, list, tuples, range, and stuff like that. So, and then we will understand clearly what exactly is this data types and how to work with those data types, right? So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next video with one more concept on Python programming language. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back to GWiz Academy. In our last video, we have seen what are the categories of data types that are built in and what are the different types of data types available. Just the names we have understood just as a reference. Now in this video, we are going to from here onwards, we will look into one by one data types. Okay, so the first data type that we'll be looking into is numeric type category, that is nothing but integer, float, and complex data types. So let's first go ahead and create a new file called as let's say numeric types, or Python numbers, or numbers you can mention, or let me number it as a numeric type, numeric data type, or let's say simply type dot py, right? So here under numeric data type, what are the under numeric data type category, what are the data types that we have under numeric data type? First is integer, second is float, third is complex. Integer, float, complex numbers, all these three data types are considered under this category called as numeric data type category. Okay, let me quickly save it. Now let's go dig deeper and see with some examples. First thing is integer. So integer, for example, let's say this is a variable which I will assign a value of 2, or let's say a variable that I can assign any value of any number of digit, unlimited digit, number, unlimited digit, or even you can assign this variable as let's say negative 2500 as well. Even these three cases also we consider it as a integer data type, right? So, and because it is not a string, we are not using any double inverted commas, right? And so the condition here is its value is a number and it's either positive or negative and of any number of digits, right? So integer is nothing but a value of a number, either positive or negative, and of any number of digits can be assigned to a variable, and this will be considered as integer data type. Now, and how to verify? I just said it that this is considered as integer data type, but you don't have to go with my words, right? So I have told you in my earlier videos itself how to check which data type it is. What is the function that we use to check data type? This is type function we need to use to check the data type. So type, let's rename it to Y and Z so that we can clearly distinguish between these three. See, type X, type Y, type Z. So this function will tell us whether this is a integer data type or what exactly it is. So let me quickly run it. Okay, we got an error. What is the error? Why did we get an error? The error is here because we cannot simply use this function directly. So for that we need to print it out. Let's say we need to use one more argument. We need to use print function so that output can be displayed, and inside this print function we need to put this type. Okay, so let me quickly copy paste it, Y and Z. Perfect. So let me remove it. So what we are doing is we are using type function to check which is the exact data type, and we are using print function to display that value in our front end or in our output. Let me quickly save it, and now let's run the code. As you can see, as soon as we ran the code, we can see here the first argument here is first result output is it is integer, and it is integer. First type X is an integer, unlimited number, unlimited digits, Y is also an integer, and lastly Z is also an integer. Now this is clear for us. What exactly is integer? This is clear for us. Now let's look into the second data type, that is called as float. So float is nothing but either positive or negative value, but at least one decimal value in a number. Just for example, let's say x or dx. Okay, just a renaming for our easy purpose. So let's say dx equals to, this is a variable name, and what can be the variable? 2.3. dy is 100.78, and dz is, let's say, negative 9999.01. Okay, so here, as you can see, there is one decimal value, here is 4 decimal value, here is 2 decimal value, right? So this can be considered as float. So to confirm whether it is a float data type or not, we will use again what? Type function, in which we will pass the variable. This will tell us which data type it is, but it will understand, but it will not show it to us. So to show it to us, we need one more function called as print this whole results in the output. Save it. Let's run the code. First 3 are of this one, and since from the 4th print is a float, so let me quickly copy paste it, dx dy and dz. Let's save it and run it again. Now if you see, integer is nothing but these are the 3 integers, and from here onwards we got float. So that means that this is also a float example, this is also a float example, and negative value, this is also a float example, right? So I hope you understood what exactly is this float data type. Whenever you see something like this, and in case whenever you get confused of what exactly which data type it is, you don't have to judge it by just looking at it. You can simply make use of this type function and print function so as to get exact accurate data type value. And then finally, last but not least, we have one more data type called as complex data type under this numeric data types. So complex data types is nothing but imaginary value represented by, let's say, j. Generally, if you have done some maths or maths equations in the past, then you will know that we write complex equations, right? Mathematical equations, we use j or x or y, something like that, to represent an imaginary number before solving that particular problem, right? So in those kinds of data types are called as complex numbers. So here, let's say complex x equals to 25j, complex y equals to 30 plus 4j, right? So here, let's see what is the data type for these two. I don't have to just judge it by just looking over it. So let's ask Python which is the data type for these two examples. Just to reduce the confusion, let me quickly comment out these print outputs functions so it doesn't confuse you. All right, so let me save it now. So right now I need to check what is the data type. So I'll use print to print out the output. Inside print, what I need to pass? Type function. Inside parenthesis, I need to pass the variable name cx. Okay, so now I saved it. Now let's run the code. As you can see, the Python output is telling us that this value, this variable, is having a data type called as complex data type, right? Okay, if that is so, then what about the next variable, that is cy? Is it a complex variable? Let's save it. Let's have a look. Run the code. Yes, obviously this is also a complex data type, right? So these kinds of equations or numbers which has an imaginary part as well, those kinds of data that we save it in a variable is called as a complex data type. And this, if we have decimals in our variables, then we call it as float data type. And if we have just a number, whole number, or negative or positive, that doesn't matter, then it is called as integer variable, integer data type, sorry, right? Now, so I guess you clearly understood what exactly is integer, what exactly is float, what exactly is the complex data types, right? With examples. and how to work with these things, how to perform certain actions, all those things we will see in future in our further chapters. But now let's complete the data types. Let's explore all the data types one by one, and then we can go ahead and see how to process the data, right? So first we will understand the data type, and next we will get into a mode where we will be processing the data. So right now we are in the understanding data types mode, right? So first numeric data type is completed, and in our next video we will explore one more data type category. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. If you have any questions, let me know in the discussion forum, or you can ask through live chat support, or you can comment down in the description as well, right? So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back to GWiz Academy. In our last video, we saw numbers in Python. Numbers in the sense numeric data type category, right? We have understood inside that type of category, we have string, integer, float, and complex. 3 data types inside numeric type category, right? Now, since we talked about numbers, since we talked about numeric type, there is an important concept here that we need to cover, and then we need to go further regarding other data types called as casting. So this is an important concept that we need to cover it before we enter into other data types. So what is this casting? Let's go back to our Visual Studio. Here, let's quickly create a new file as a presentation of new chapter, casting.py. Perfect. So now let's create 3 variables. X is equals to 1 as a string. Okay, this is a string. Why? I don't want this to be considered as a number. I want this to be considered as a string. So just in case, if I type x is equals to 1, it will be considered as a integer, but I don't want to consider it, make it an integer. So I have clearly made it string by adding this inverted commas, right? Okay, so first string variable has been created. Variable has been created x, and the value is string. And next variable that I'll create here is y. That variable will have value, let's say integer. What is the integer that we can have inside it? 55, just a random number. And then let's name it as integer. Okay, and then third variable called z, and here let's add 27.01. this is a float. Okay, perfect. So this comment I have added so that it is easy for us to understand. First is string variable, second is integer variable, third is float variable, right? There are 3 variables right now in our file. Let's save it. Now you tell me what will happen if I use print function and check the type of, let's say, x variable. What should be the output? The output should be string. So is it so? Let's go ahead and see. Yes, the output is string. And what about if I print the type of, let's say, y variable? What should be the output? So the output should be integer, right? So let's scroll down. It is integer. And same way, if I print, let's say, the type of z variable, then obviously it should be a float. Data type is float. Perfect. So what is happening here is I am not telling Python that this is a string, this is a integer, this is a float, but Python is intelligent enough to understand whether this is an integer or either it is a string or it is a float based on the certain syntax. Here I have used double inverted commas, or even if I use single inverted commas, still the Python will understand it as a string, will consider it as a string. Here there is just pure numbers or whole numbers. That's the reason the Python understands it as an integer. And here, since we have decimal points, so Python understands this as a float, right? Perfect. So till now we understood that Python can self-understand. It is intelligent enough to understand what is the data type. But in certain situations, we need Python to consider a value in different data type. What does this mean? This means that there will be certain situations where I want Python to consider this 55 as a string, or let's say as a float. I don't want, see, I'll just type it once again. Y is equals to 55. This is what it is, right? So here y variable is nothing but 55, and Python now consider this as a integer by default. But in some situations, I want Python to consider this as a string, or I want Python to consider this as a float variable. How will Python understand this as a float variable? It is not possible, right? So it allows us to define as well. By default, Python can intelligently understand what is the exact data type. But in case if we want a custom data type, if we want Python to understand this as a custom data type, then we need to tell Python that render it as a float variable, render it as a string variable. See, this is integer. So I'll show you with an example. Integer to float or string. How define integer to float or string? By using construct function. So what is this construct function that we need to use so that the integer can be defined as float or string? So the construct function that we use here is, don't worry about what is construct function, just ignore it, just think it as a function, just normal function. So y is equals to, let's say, float, float parenthesis, and then inside parenthesis I'll write 55 instead of outside here. Now what am I doing here is I'm defining this 55 as a float, so that now Python will render this 55 as float itself. It will not consider this, it will not use its own brain and consider this as a integer. If we just simply write 55, then by default it will consider it as an integer. But right now I defined this particular value as a float. So now if you see, what will Python render it as? Print type y. So let me just simply comment it off, these other print outputs, so that it doesn't confuse you. All right, so right now we only have just one print type and one command print, and it will reflect whether if this particular value is a integer or float. We know that 55 is an integer, but now Python will understand this as a float value. So let's go ahead and see. Let's save this code and run it. See, Python now considers this as a float value. And same thing, let's say y is equals to string 55. We know 55 is a integer, but now since I defined this particular 55 as a string, now Python will consider this as a string itself, type y, right? So if you now go ahead and run the code, first here y is float, but then again I converted that y into string. So now it is called, the Python consider this as a string. So this is how you can change the data types. You can convert the data types. You can flip the data types. So right now what I did, I converted from integer to float or string. Same way, let's say define float to integer or string, right? So let's say I know that, let me just comment it off here. Okay, so now from float we will change it to integer and string. What is the float value? Z is a float value. So Z here is by default float value. So what I'll do, Z is equals to, what is the value? 27.01, right? 27.01. So this is the float value. So if this is a float value, and let's say if this is a float value, then if in case I want to convert it into integer or string, what I need to do, I need to define it as a string or integer. How to do that? I just need to define it as integer 27.01. That's it. Now if I see print type z and save it, you will see it as a integer. See, integer. And this is we use the type function to recognize what is the data type. But in case if I don't want to know the data type, I just want to print out the output. Let's say I'll comment it off. Let's say I simply print the output of what is z exactly. If I save it and now run it, so what is the output? 27. The decimal will go off, right? So from float, we made that particular float value float into integer. How to do that? By defining what is the data type. We have successfully converted from float to integer. Similarly, let me quickly comment it off. Similarly, we can make z into, right now what we did, we converted float into integer. So what we will do now, float into string, we will convert it into a string. So str and then 24.01, right? Save it. Now if I click on, if I type print z, let's see what comes up. An integer value will show up, I'm sure. It's 27.01. Okay, so what is the data type? Let me, or let it be, let me comment it off, these two things. Save, run the code. The type is string. The value is 27.01 itself, but as you can see, this 27.01 is being rendered as a string, not a float value. Okay, so this is how we can convert the data types as well. So you can simply comment, remove the comment. Yeah, so the thing is, this is how you can change values in the sense you can change the data types from integer to string, string to integer, integer to float, float to integer. But the thing is, you cannot convert, you can also convert, sorry, we have forgotten one more concept here, that is, let's say, let's just assume it as a variable c, which represents for complex number 27, 23, 26j. Okay, so this is a complex number. Okay, so here we can convert integer into complex as well. See, I'll show you. Y is a 55, right? So I'll put it inside parenthesis and I'll tell to make it complex. Save it. Okay, so complex numbers cannot be changed, but let's see, let's try. But before that, let's remove all these prints. Okay, so let me quickly print y, and also let me print type y as well. Okay, so let me go ahead and run this code. 55.0j. So we have successfully converted this particular integer into a complex data type, and as you can see, this function is printing out the value complex number, and print this type, we are this particular argument is printing out the output of what is the data type. Data type is nothing but complex. We have successfully changed the data type into complex from integer. Similarly, you can go ahead and do the same for float value as well. You can convert this float value into, let's say, z equals to complex 27.01. so now if I print it z, then let me comment off this earlier prints, save it. Okay, so now if I print z, so what happens, in z is nothing but a string. Okay, right now the z is string, and if I want to change it to complex number, then I'll define it as a complex and then I add the string. Now if I run the code, this is successfully created into complex number. And now if I want to test whether if it is a complex number or not, then I need to use a type function to check which type it is. And then if you see, if I run now, class complex, in the sense this z is a complex data type. So this is how you can change the data from one data type to another data type by defining it, defining what exactly you want to convert it to. But please note that you cannot change, not change from complex to other data type. And also you cannot change from text or text type data types, alphabetic data types, to string, integer or float, etc. Right? So the thing is, you cannot change the name Rakesh into a number. Let's go ahead and try that as well and see what happens. Let's create a variable called as name, and the data that it has is my name Rakesh. And if in case I want to change this particular name into something else, name has a string. It is right now, it is a string, right? If I save it and see the check, it is a string. So now if I address it, if I define it as a integer and then I pass the value Rakesh, save it, I'll get an error. I'll remove this print as well or comment it off. Now let's go ahead and see what is the value error. Invalid literal for int, in the sense you cannot change the text or alphabetic data type to integer or float, right? So this is the example for this. Okay, so I hope you have clearly understood. So finally, this conversion from one data types to another data type is what is we call as type conversion or type casting. I hope you understood this whole concept now. Please watch this video again and again if you did not understand it. I'm sure if you're watching this for the first time, it might be daunting, or like say it, you might feel very overwhelmed. You will understand everything well while I'll be explaining, but when you try to implement it or execute it, you might get stuck somewhere. So I recommend you to type these things again and again, watch the video again and again, and practice it again and again. 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, again and again. Just, you don't have to memorize anything over here. You just simply need to understand the concept that is running behind these things, right? What exactly we are doing here? We are converting from string to float, float to string. What is integer? What is float? What is complex? These are the data types, right? So we are changing from one data type to another data type. So this is called as typecasting or type conversion, right? So I hope you have understood what exactly is this casting, and we will see further implementation process or logic behind these things, how to while we start working on exercises and stuff like that. But right now, your foundation, your concept should be very clear, right? And in case if you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer your queries, right? Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back to GWiz Academy. So in this video, we are going to learn about Boolean type of data. Basically, data types under which we have a category. If you remember, under data types, we have a category called as Boolean type of data, right? So what is this Boolean types of data? What exactly does this mean? Before that, let's revise a concept that computers only think in the basis of ones and zeros, in the sense binary terms itself. Either it is yes or no, true or false. Based on this logic itself, no matter what big program we write, everything boils down to this thing that either you should do or not do. The computer doesn't understand our programming language, right? They understand only binary language. So they think in computers can only understand commands given in zeros and ones. So whatever program we write, it will ultimately boil down to zeros and ones, and then the processing will happen and stuff like that. You already know about this. So how is it relevant to this Python programming language? In Python program, every expression in Python, every expression will return either true or false. Let's see some cases. If the expression is mathematical. As you know, Python is intelligent enough to do maths over the fly. Over the fly in the sense, right away we can do mathematics or some logic, some basic logics using operators, we can implement it. I'll show you how. Let's say print 10 is greater than 5. 10 is greater than 5. So we know that 10 is greater than 5, but does the Python understands whether 10 is greater than 5? If yes, then it will return true. Then if it is false, then it should return false. Okay, so what am I doing now? Basically 10 is greater than 5. This is our expression. This is a mathematical expression. 10 is greater than 5. Whether it is true or not, how will Python interpret it correctly or not? Let's see. How to know whether this Python programming is understanding whether it is returning true or false? We will need to use a function called as print for that, right? We'll put it inside print here. And now if we save this code and try to run this code, we should be getting a value called as true. See, so computer understands, computer in the sense programming, this our program understands, Python understands that 10 is greater than 5. Okay, if you say it will return true for all, let's try with print 10 is less than 5. Let's see what our program returns. It should return false. See, it is false. 10 is not greater than 5, so it is returning false. So the concept is, let's say if print 10 is equal to 5. Don't worry about this triple equal to, what does this mean and all those things. We'll see that, we'll explore this in our next chapters. But for now, just assume that 10 is equal to 5. I'm just telling Python that 10 is equals to 5 or equivalent to 5. Whether Python understands it or not, let's see. Let's save it, run the code. Syntax error. Okay, let's do this. Save it, run the code again. Now, even if I tell Python that 10 is equals to 5, Python understands that it is not true, so it returns us false. And same way, if I say print 10 is equal to 10, then let's see, save it and process it, run the command, it's true, right? So what is happening is these expressions, 10 is greater than 5, 10 is less than 5, 10 is equal to 5, 10 is equal to 10, these are the expression. For mathematical expression, Python will return if it is either true or false. Definitely it will return. If we don't print it, still Python will know that whether it is true or not. We are printing it out, that's why we are able to see it here, what it thinks. Same way, for if the expression is non-mathematical, still Python will return true or false. Still Python will return true or false. True if the parameter has a value, and false if parameter is empty, right? So what does this exactly mean? Let's see with some examples. So what is this text? If the expression is non-mathematical, still Python will return true or false. True if the parameter has a value, and false if a parameter does not have a value. So for that, what we need to do is, let's say x is equals to Rakesh. This is a string. And y is equals to 25. This is a number. Okay, I need to ask Python that is x true or false. How do I ask Python that whether x is true or false? For that, we have a function called as use function called as bool. This will evaluate if the expression is true or false. We have a built-in function called as bool that will evaluate whether x is true or y is true. This you can use it if the expression is non-mathematical. If it is mathematical, then obviously if it is true, then it will show true or false. But here there is no mathematical relations or something like that, right? So whether to identify whether if x is true or y is true or false or whatever it is, we use bool function. How to use it? It's as simple as that. Just use bool, initiate this bool function and put x inside this. That's it. And let me simply comment these things above. Print. Okay. Now, if you save it and run this program, we shouldn't get any output. Let's see. See, the code ran and the code is completed, but we did not see any output. What is this bool function doing is it is evaluating, but it is not showing it to us. To make Python show it to us, we need to use a function called as print. Wrap it up and use a function called as print the output and show it to us. Don't just assume it, show it to us. So now if we run, as you can see, yes, bool x is true. And what about print bool y? Bool y. Let's save it. Let's run this code and see. Yes, obviously this is true as well. But what if, let's say, z or z, and it does not have any value, it is empty. Okay, so now what if I want to check whether it is true or false? Bool z or z. Now save it and run the code. You scroll down, true, true and false, true, true and false. This is true. This prints true because x is having some value in it, right? So same way, this expression y is also returning true because y is having some value in it. Here, if you see, this prints false because z is empty. You got my point? So same way, there are some, this gets applied to lists or tuples or dictionaries. You don't have to worry what exactly is this list or tuples or dictionaries and all those things. We can create much complex functionalities or logic. We can write very complex logic based on these parameters. If it, we can tell program that if it is true, do this, if it is false, do this, right? Some kinds of logic. Let's say, for just an example, first point is this rule is valid for lists, tuples, dictionaries, and we call it as dict or dictionaries, and arrays, etc. as well. And we can build a strong logic based on Boolean values. How is it possible? I'll give you a very small example. Let's say a is equals to 10, b is equals to 15. What is a and b? They are two variables, right? Okay, fine. Now I'll just give you an example of a very small program. Okay, you don't have to worry about how to write this program and all those things, but yeah, just understand, because I just said, right, we can create logic by using this Boolean answers. So I'll give you a small example so you can simply understand it for now. Later on, once we start exercises and all those things, then you will clearly understand these things. Now let's see, if a is having 10 and b is having 15. Now I'll write a logic, simple logic. What is the logic? If a is greater than b, then print a is greater than b. You tell me whether a is greater than b or not. A is smaller than b, but I am telling the program, I don't know the value of a and b. I just know that there is two variables called as a and b. So I'll tell a program that if a is greater than b, tell me that a is greater than b. Else print b is greater than a. Or let's say, no, a is smaller than b, right? Both are same thing. So let me save it And how to write this if and else condition, don't worry about it, we will go through that in our further videos. But for now, what you need to understand that I am using this Boolean expression if A is greater than B. In the sense, if it is true, then print this. If it is false, else, then print this as no A is smaller than B. We are basically using Boolean expression and if else statement to create this particular program. So that is what is working in the behind. So let me save this whole thing and run this code and let's see. So what is the output? Output is no A is smaller than B. No A is smaller than B. So this is how I can clearly understand. If someone gives me that, if someone says that identify which number is greater out of two variables A and B, and they don't tell me whether A is greater or B is greater. So simply what I'll do, I'll write this logic and program will tell me whether the A is bigger or B is bigger. So this is extremely helpful right now because we have just two values. We can clearly understand that without program also we can clearly understand whether A is bigger or B is bigger. But what if we have 10 million numbers? What if we have 20 million numbers? So at that time we can't sit and keep on counting each number and we can observe each number, right? It is not human readable. In those cases we can write some logics like this based on this Boolean data type. Then we can clearly, program will do work for us. So don't worry, don't get overwhelmed by all these things. Just understand that whatever the expression it is in Python, it will return either true or false. So based on true or false result, we can write complex programs as well, right? So once we start examples or once we start writing exercises or programs, then you will clearly understand all these concepts. For now, it's just that you should be knowing this fact that Python will return true or false for all the expression. If the mathematical expression is true, then it is true. If it is false, then it is false. For normal expressions, if the parameter has some value, then it will return true. If the parameter is empty, then it will return false. That's it. That is all you need to understand for now, right? So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section, right? Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Hey guys, welcome back to GWiz Academy. In this video, we are going to learn about Python operators. So what exactly is this operator and why do we use it? See, operators are something that we need in program so that we can perform certain actions like calculations and between numbers or to create logics, we use operators. Let's see with an examples and understand what exactly it is and why do we use it. In Python, we have different types of operators as well, like around eight types of operators are there. So examples of operators are nothing but plus or minus in the sense subtraction, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, or comparison, like if our number is greater than or less than a particular certain number. If we want to compare two different numbers, we need operators. If we want to perform addition or subtraction or multiplication or division, then we need operators. And if we want to compare whether this x is equals to y or y is equals to x, then we need operators. So to perform these kinds of comparison or to apply logic or to assign something or to perform some mathematical operations, we use something called as operators, right? We will see that in through examples. We will try to learn about it. In Python, we have around 8 categories of operators. So most frequently used are these four actually: arithmetic operators, assignment operators, comparison operators, and logic operators. And we do use these two identity and membership operators as well. And yeah, bitwise operators, I want you to look for this and do some research and let me know what exactly is bitwise operator. This is a task for you by end of this video, right? So let's get started and see what exactly is this operators from here to here, right? So yeah, the first thing is arithmetic operator. Arithmetic operators. So as I have mentioned it over here, so addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulus, we can do it. We can perform these functions by using operators called as arithmetic operators. So let's see some examples. So let's say if I have, okay, let's not take some variables or something, just directly I'll use print and let's say I have two numbers. Let's say it's 24 plus 45. Yeah. So if I have two numbers, that is 24 and 45, let's save this and let's see the result. The result is 69, right? So here what happened here is this number and this number got added. Why? Because we used this plus symbol. So plus symbol here is called as arithmetic operator. Same way, if you see print 100 minus 25, right? If I save it and let's run this code, and you can see 100 minus 25, it is what it is, 75, right? So the operation is happening. Operation in the sense mathematical operation, mathematical calculation is being done by using this symbol. So this symbol we call it as arithmetic operators, right? So same way you can go ahead and do multiplication, division, and get modulus as well for certain numbers. If you want to multiply certain numbers, let's use like 100 multiplied by 200. So let's save it and run the code, right? So we got the answer 20,000. So this way we can perform arithmetic calculations by using arithmetic operators. So plus, minus, multiplication, division, and modulus, these are the symbols that we have. We categorize these operators under arithmetic operators. Same way we have these operators that we consider or categorize under assignment operators. Why assignment operators? Let's go ahead and see. Let me quickly format this. Okay, now here if I want to see like let's say x as a variable is 10, y as a variable is 15. Okay, so I'll use an assignment operators. So here what we have done is we are assigning value 10 to this variable called as x by using an operator called as assignment operators. Using assignment operators, what we are doing is we are assigning this particular variable x a value of 10. We are assigning this variable y with a value of 15 by using this assignment variable, right? So similarly what we can do is, let's say z equals to x. So what does this mean? Now if I print z or z, then what will be the result? It should be 10, right? So let's run this code and see. Yes, it is 10. Why is that so? Because I took this, I use this assignment operator called equals to symbol and made sure that the value of x is equals to z or z, right? So now if I print z, then it will be equals to x, and which is equal to 10. So the value of z is 10, right? So here what we are doing is we are assigning values to particular variable, right? So same way you can go ahead and use this symbol, plus or equals to symbol. How to use that? Let me show you. First thing is, let's say x is equals to 10. We already have x is equals to 10, right? Again, let's type x is equals to 10. That doesn't matter. And now if I say again, after a certain program, after writing some line of code and whatever it is, let's say if I want to change the value of x again, I can go ahead and write x is equals to x plus 10. X is equals to x plus 10, right? So what does this mean? This means that earlier till here, till the line 25, x value was 10, right? So as soon as the program hits the line 26, what happens is one more x variable is created and it is assigned a value of x, that is 10, plus I'm adding 10 more. So 10 plus 10 will be 20. So now if I print x, then it will be 20. See, right? So the value is 20 now. So by the end, the value is 20. So this same thing here, let me comment it off. Let me comment this print as well. Let me comment these three as well. Okay, let me save it. Okay, So instead of using this x is equals to x plus 10, what we do in a short form is x plus equals to 10. So what does this mean is add x to 10. This is what it means exactly. Okay, if you please don't get confused. What does this mean is we are adding this x with 10 and then return the same value back to x. So x is equals to x plus 10. You should read it as x is equals to x plus 10. It's as simple as that. Whenever you see this thing, you simply read x is equals to x plus 10. So same way, let's say x is equals to, let's say if I want to write x is equals to x minus 5, what I can write is x minus equals to 5. What does this mean? X is equals to x minus 5. You simply should read it as x is equal to x minus 5, so that you can visualize it like this: x is equals to x minus 5, right? So what is happening here is minus and equals to symbol. We are using plus and equals to symbol. We are using equals to symbol to assign some values to certain variable, right? So what exactly we are doing here, we are assigning certain values to variable. So that is the reason we call these symbols as assignment operators. Similarly, we can multiply. So as you can see here, let's say, so what will be the output for this particular x is equals to x minus 5? It will be, I guess, print x will be 5, right? If I remove 5 minus x, then let's see, let's run this code. Okay, so here x was 20, here till the line 28 it was 20. So from 20, if we remove 5, we are left with 15. Okay, perfect. So this is assignment operators. Let's say if I can give you one more example of multiplication, let's say if I want to use x is equals to x multiplied by 15, same thing I can write as x multiplication equals to 15. This is as equal as x is equal to x multiplied by 15. So if I print x now, so what is happening here is, here x's value is 15, right? So 15 multiplied by 15 will happen, and 15 multiplied by 15 will be the result. As you can see, if we run the code now, scroll down, 225, right? 15 into 15. So same way, I have given the list of these operators as well here. You can go ahead and practice various examples for this. Now coming back to next operator. What is the next operator? Next one is comparison operators. Okay, so let me quickly comment off these things. Okay, so coming to comparison operators. Okay, here by using comparison operators, we can compare between two numbers. See, what exactly do I mean? As the name itself suggests, it's a comparison operator. Let's say, okay, print 10 is equals to 20. What should be the result? Let's see. It's false. It is returning false. Why is it returning false? Because x is not equal to 20, it is returning false. So what is it doing is, the Python code is just checking, is comparing 10 and 20 and seeing if they both are same. They are not same, right? So that's the reason it is returning us false. So same way, if let's say print 10 is greater than 20, so instead of this, we can use equals to symbol as well. Okay, so let me use this for now. Let me save it and let's see the result. It's also false because 10 is not greater than 20. Now if I use print 10 is less than 20, save it and run the code, it's true because 10 is obviously less than 20, so it is returning us true. Now if I use 10 is less or equals to 20. So what does this symbol mean is either 10 is less than 20 or it is equal to 20, but in no way 10 is greater than 20. This is what this operator means. Okay, either 10 is less than 20 or it is equal to 20, but it is not more than 20. This is what this exact meaning of this particular operator. So if I save it and run the code, it should be true. See, it's true. Now if I revert that, print, let's say 10 is greater or equal to 20. Is it true or false? Guess. If I run it, it will be obviously false. Scroll down and it is false, right? So what is happening here is we are using these operators to compare between two numbers, right? So this is how you can go ahead and compare between several numbers in programming language, and in future videos we will. Right now I'm just using print function so that it is convenient for you to now understand this concept fundamentals. In later videos we will have to use these operators under our class, under our object, sorry, whenever we create functions we need to use these logics like boolean data types, or we need to use operators to understand or compare or assign values. So more complex exercises we will go through all those things, but for now I'm using as simple example as possible so that you get the concept right embedded in your brain, right? So this is how we use comparison operators. And coming to the next one, which is logical operator, and, or, and not. Logical operators. So as the name itself suggests, let's say if I use print 10 is less than 20 and 10 is less than 15. Here I'm using this operator called as AND operator. But along with that, I'm using other operators as well, comparison operators as well, along with the logical operators. Here I told the program that 10 is less than 20. The program knows, yes, it is true. And 10 is less than 15 also. Yes, this is also true. This is also true, and this is also true. Now the whole expression should be true. So let me simply save this and run the code and see. Yes, it is true. Now same thing I can do. Print 10 is greater than 20 and 10 is less than 20. Now here what is happening here, see, 10 is less than 20. Yes, I know 10 is less than 20, but 10 is not less than 20 here. Okay, 10 is not greater. Okay, let me change the number here. So 30. So 10 is less than 30. Yes, we all know that 10 is less than 30. This will be this expression, this part of this expression is true. And 10 is greater than 20. We clearly can see that 10 is not greater than 20, because so this expression is false, right? False and true. Then if there is something like false and true, then the whole expression in together will be false. Let's save it, because to get an output as true for this thing we need both of these expressions to be true. If either of these expression is false, then the AND operator will return us the false. So let's save it and run this code and see. As you can see that we are getting the false over here, right? So now what we can do is the same code let's use once again. Because we used AND, whenever we use AND, both the expression should be true, only then the result will be true. Here if I use OR, what will happen? Let's see. If I use OR, either this one or this one, left one or right one, either of them should be true. If any one, at least one of them is true, then the result will be true. So here I can see that 10 is less than 30. Yes, it is true. 10 is greater than 20. No, it is false. But this is true, right? So the whole expression will result in true. I can run this code and see the result. that the whole expression resulted in true. So either this result is satisfied or this result is satisfied. Either of them is true, then result is true. We can create complex logic using these things, but I don't want to use a complex example for you because we are learning about these operators from the ground level. So I want to just make sure that you are comfortable with understanding what exactly is this operator. How to use it in more complex programs, we will definitely see in our later videos or in our advanced series as well, right? All right. So now what I want to give you is, by watching videos you're not going to learn programming. So I want you to research about these three operators: identity operators, membership operators, and what is the last one, bitwise operators. Okay, so you need some programming foundation to understand what exactly these are, but make sure to Google these terms: identity operators, membership operators, and bitwise operators. I want you to Google these terms and tell me in the description that what did you understand by identity operators, membership operators, and bitwise operators. I need to use some examples like classes and objects. I need to use examples of list actually to explain you what is this identity operators and membership operators. But we haven't covered that concept of objects or lists or class, right? So we will anyways be coming back here and learning about these three operators later on. But for now, just to fulfill your curiosity, I want you to go ahead and Google these terms and see what does this mean and get back to me with the answers of what exactly these operators are, and do make sure you share at least two examples of these three each. Okay, so and still if you cannot figure it out, don't worry. In our after we learn what is list and what is dictionary, what is tuples, we will come back here and we will learn these three operators as well with examples, right? We will cover these examples as well. So don't worry about this. We can keep these concepts on hold for now because we need some ground fundamentals before we touch these operators as well, because I don't want to give you the advanced example and then confuse you or overwhelm you. If you All I want is you should be googling these terms and reading about these three operators, and if you understand it well, that is great, share us the example. If you don't understand it, please don't worry at all. You don't have to memorize any of these things. You simply need to understand what is happening and just follow along, right? You don't have to memorize or do anything, right? Okay, now that we have completed operators, this is it for this video. We are keeping these three operators on hold for now, so that once we complete our list, dictionaries, and some intermediate concepts, then we will come back here and continue these three operators, explanation of these three operators with some examples, right? So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next video with one more concept in Python programming. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hey guys, welcome back to GWiz Academy. In this video, we're going to explore Python strings. You might ask that what is there in strings? We already know what exactly string is by now. We have gone through these 10 chapters. So now this is the 10th one, and I clearly know what is string. String is nothing but alphanumeric words or characters, whatever you put it in a variable, that is called a string. Just for example, if let's say x is a variable in which we have a string which we added within this inverted commas, double inverted comma. Let's say my name, Rakesh is my name, so this is a string. Or is a web developer, so this is also a string, right? This is it. But there is more to this. We need to understand more concepts related to string. This is not complete thing. To understand everything related to strings or to master strings, these are the concepts that you need to understand and learn. First is assigning a string, and second is multi-line string, how to create multi-line strings. Third is what is indexing and what is negative indexing. You need to learn this. And then we need to learn what is slicing. And after that, we need to learn modifications, replace, split, concatenation, formatting, escaping, and we have some challenges as well here listed that we will go through one by one. Okay, so let's get started. Let's dive deep into strings concept and see what we can learn and extract from this video. First thing is assigning a string to a variable. Just in the beginning of this video, I have shown you an example. Let's say we create a name variable and assign it a string called the value of the name. So let's say my name is Rakesh, so the value is Rakesh. It's as simple as that. Or let's say x is equals to, this is a random string, right? So this way, whenever we use double inverted commas, right, double quotation mark, and whenever we add content inside that, and we assign it to a particular variable, then we call it as a string. This is what is a string. So in case of numbers, we don't use this double inverted commas, right? Now this is what is assigning a string. We know this from the beginning itself, we already know. But the next concept is how to write multi-line string. Let's say this is just one line. So what if we had to write, this is the second line of string, and you might say that just remove this double inverted comma and add this here. I'm sorry, so let me remove this here from here. Let's say x is equals to double inverted commas, this is the first line of string, just a random text. Okay, this is the second line of the string. Now as you can see, this is having an error. Let me first close it here as well. So as you can see, this is already showing it as an error, it is highlighting it as an error. But still, if we go ahead and save it, and if we run the command, run the the program, then you might see that syntax error. We can easily find syntax error, undetermined string literal, on line number 7. So this string is undefined because this double inverted commas only work if we add single line strings. Now the error has gone. But what to do for multi-line strings? For multi-line strings, what can be done is simply use triple inverted commas. Instead of double inverted commas, use triple inverted commas. It's as simple as that. That's it. Now you can go ahead and type your sentence. This is the first sentence, and this is the second sentence, right? So this way we can go ahead and create multi-line strings. Now if, let's say, if I try to type the value of x in the output, let's run the command and let's scroll down. This is the first line sentence, this is the second line sentence. This way we can type multi-line strings. Okay, I hope this concept is clear. We have understood how to assign strings, we have understood how to create multi-line strings, right? Now an extremely important concept in strings, or in later videos in advanced concepts as well, a very important concept is indexing, which beginners often get confused. Indexing and negative indexing. Let's say, let's assume this variable, let's call this variable again, this variable, let's assign it as a name Rakesh. So as you can see, this particular variable has a value called Rakesh. Value Rakesh is nothing but a string here. Okay, so let me divide this string, just I'll add it as a notes. So if this is Rakesh, so let me just neatly write it out again. R A K E S H. This is for just for explanation or visualization. Just I'm writing it off. Okay, it is nothing to do with the programming. I'm just explaining you how you can visualize it so that you don't make mistakes in future programming and creating logics and all, right? You will never fail in creating logics related to indexing. Okay, so right now this is a string and I divided this string like this. Now I'll start naming it. So for first, naming has to be done. Indexing is nothing but naming. We'll assign a position for this particular characters. Each characters will get its own position. So first R will get 0th position, and second A will get first position. Similarly, K will get second position. This E will get third position, fourth, fifth. Right? It's as simple as that. Now this is called as indexing. So if someone asks you what is the character which is on the third position of Rakesh string, if someone asks you what is the character that is on the third position, then you say E is the character that is available on third position. Generally, if you just see Rakesh here randomly, you will just say RAK. So K is the third character. It's not like that. K is the second character that lies in the second position. A is the character that lies on the first position. This is how indexing works. And coming to negative indexing, what we need to do, first we will start from here. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, right? This is how negative indexing works. Negative indexing, you need to name it from the right hand side. And normal indexing starts from 0, but negative indexing starts from 1 to 6. So the characters are -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. So if someone asks you, let me just name it. This is negative indexing. How to check the authenticity? See, now what is the use of this indexing and how to check the authenticity of what I just now explained you? I might be wrong, right? So I might be wrong. So don't just go with my words. Let's go ahead and test. Let's go ahead and ask Python itself whether what is right. So if someone asks you what is in the second position of Rakesh string, then what you need to do is print. What is print? What we need to print name. But what we need to print in name? We need to print a character that is available on the second position. So what you need to do? We need to tell print name, but which position we want? Second position, the letter which is available on the second position. So let's save it. Let's ask Python what lies in the second position. In second position, as we see here, the output is K. In the sense, when we type name, this brackets and brackets, inside brackets we add the position of this particular position. In the sense, we technically call it as an index. Okay, so name square brackets, and inside square brackets we put just the index of this particular word K, or which index we want, second position or second, and we'll get the output as K. And then we can go ahead and say that okay, K lies in the second position of Rakesh string. If someone asks you what lies in the -5th position of Rakesh, what is in the -5th? It is hard to visualize directly, but if we have a chart like this, we can simply say under -5th we have A, right? We rendered it in our mind very fast even faster than Python, right? So let's just verify whether we are correct or not. So print name and check -5. We should get what? We should get A. Okay, so let's save it and run the command. Congratulations. So we have got A. So this way we can pull a certain characters out of string and use it and modify it or process it. We will see all those examples in our later video, but this concept, this visualizing technique is extremely important and people get confused. I'm 100% sure no one on YouTube will teach you in this way of visualization. This is my way of visualization through which I have learned this indexing process. So the same thing you will also learn, I'm sure, and I'm 100% sure you will never have questions related to indexing or negative indexing from now onwards, right? So this is how we identify what is the position or what is the index, what is the character in particular index. Okay, now let's say if I want to yeah, let's say if I want to print after k, whatever it is, after k, sorry, kesh, I need to print this much. In this particular string, I want to print from k to sh. So how do I do that? Simply type print and then what is the variable name? It's name and square brackets, and square brackets, inside square brackets, what we need to do? What is the index of k? Index of k is 2. So simply write 2 and add colon and just leave it as it is. As soon as you leave it as it is, what will happen is from 2, whatever it is after that till the end of the string, it will get printed. Let's save it and let's run the program and see. Scroll down. Kesh, name kesh is not okay. Let's run it again. See, kesh. Kesh. We wanted to print kesh, right? So we just used indexing method to identify the position of k, and then whatever it is after k, then we have printed it. So what if I want to print whatever it is before k? So what we need to do is this prints from k to end of the string. This prints -5th character of the string. This prints 2nd character of the string, right? I hope this will be clear for you. So I'll save it. And now let's say if I want to print before k, whatever it is, please show me. So what I need to do? Simple. Print name. Okay, and then we use the square brackets, and inside square brackets, in the beginning, copy everything. I'll just leave it blank, and after this colon I'll write 2. What is 2? 2 is k, right? So we need to print whatever it is before k. So k 2, we need to type it here. So what will happen now? This prints everything before k. Save it, run the program, scroll down, and as you can see here, RA is printed. Now there is one important note that you need to remember here. Let's say if I want to print AKES, not H, or let's say AKE, I just want to print AKE. Just print AKE. So how to do that? Let's see what is the position of A. Position of A is 1. Okay, So we need to use name, square brackets, A's position is 1, and what is the last word that we need? E. E's position is 3, right? So we'll type 3. This is what you think it is. But what happens here is this will print just AK. It will not print E, because the right side of this column, whatever we add, this is excluded. First, this format, how this format is written in the sense, before colon included, or let's say included colon excluded. This is the syntax, right? So now if we want AKE, so A's position is 1. So we have written 1. Why we have written 1? Because it is included. So I have written 1. It is included. But E's position is 3. So if I write 3 here, this 3 will be excluded. So I should not write 3. Rather, I should write 4 here. 4 here. Now if you go ahead and print this thing, let me copy this complete thing and put it in under print. If you see, if you go ahead now and save it and run this program, this will print AKE. But generally what people do, people just confuse and just type E and save it and run this program, and they will get an error or they will get a wrong answer, AK, just because the first parameter is included, the second parameter is excluded, right? So excluded in the sense till here, not including this parameter. So third position will not be included. So I need to write fourth parameter, right? So I hope you understood this concept clearly. Don't worry if you did not understand or something like that, then please watch this video once again. Watch this video 10 times till this concept gets into your head, right? Now let's come to the next concept called slicing. Okay, so I think I have already covered this slicing concept. This is indexing. From here to here we have covered indexing, and till here also we have covered indexing. But this one that we understood how to extract certain characters from a particular string is what slicing is called as. Okay, so this comes under slicing. Now let's go to next concept of modification. Let's say it's a very simple concept. Just have your focus here. So let's say the name variable is what? Rakesh. So if I want to print this name, but the printed name has to be in capital letters, it should be in caps. So what I need to do is, I don't have control over this input because user will send this input. So what I need to do is, whenever I print this particular variable, I need to print it in a capital format. So what way I can do is print what I need to print, name I need to print, right? So name, but I'll use a method by using this dot. What is the method? Method in the sense function. So what is the function that I'll use? I'll use upper and parenthesis. That's it. It's as simple as that. What it will do is it will print this name in capital format. Just run this code. As you can see, the whole thing is now capital. So now if you understand, if you see, name is equals to name dot upper. Okay, what does this mean? This means I converted this name into capital letter, and I saved it in the name variable. So the right now if I print name, it will again show me in caps, right? Rakesh and Rakesh. This just printed out Rakesh, but here I have saved that upper uppercase Rakesh into name variable again. So what I'll do, I need to make it a lowercase again. So how do I make this name into lowercase again? So what I need to do is using a method where I'll use this variable lower method lower name. Okay, this is a variable, and this variable I have created. Whatever name you want, you can keep it. What I will do is right now name is in capital, right? In caps, we know that. So if name is in caps, how to turn it into small case? Just add dot and type lower and parenthesis. That's it. Now this lower name is nothing but is in lowercase of my name. Just see print and type lower name. Save it. Okay. Now if I run this program, it was converted back to lowercase, right? This is how you can change a string from lowercase to high case or higher case to lowercase, right? Cap case to lowercase or lowercase to cap case. You can change it by using this method. Now if you one more concept is we need to work on strip. What is this strip all about? Let's say there is a name, there is a variable called as full name. Okay, so what is full name? Rakesh, or okay, so I'll put it in this way. F name is nothing but first name is Rakesh, and L name is nothing but last name, right? Kumar. So if first name is Rakesh and L name is Kumar, I need to type print. I need to print full name. So what I'll do, I'll use print function and I'll just type F name plus L name. Okay. Now click on save and run this program, and let's see what is the result. Rakesh Kumar. This is fine. This looks fine. But what if I need to add a space between first name and last name? I simply need to add a space here. Okay. Or what you can do, either add space here. Let me save it and run this program. This will add a space here, but if not, then remove this space and add a space here. Okay, and save it and run the program. It's also yielding the same result. Okay. Instead, some people do what they do is they add space here or they add space here, and but this won't work. If you save it and run this program, that doesn't work. So here space doesn't matter. So what matters is here we need space. But the issue is, I'll tell you, what if we have space, this much space? What will you do? We cannot add any space over here, right? We don't have control. Actually, the data that is being saved in a variable, we don't have the control over it, because what happens is generally whenever we write programs, we take inputs from a user, in the sense the customer, the one who is using the website or filling up the form or something like that. When someone fills the form, the data is captured. While someone is filling the form, if they fill the form with this much space, what happens is, if I write some code something like this, print first name plus last name, and if I save it, now if you run this program, they will see their name something like this. But the user doesn't care, right? They'll just complain that, hey, my name is shows like this and this doesn't make any sense. So how did you write code, and all those things will happen. So what we need to do is, no matter how many space a user has added, we need to remove all the space. So how to remove all the space? So what I'll do is, f name is equals to f name dot strip method. That's it. So what this will do is, as soon as I add this strip method, the space will be removed from Rakesh, and what will be the f name? It's just simple R Rakesh will be added. You simply see. So let me save it and print run this program. As you can see, R space has been removed, right? So there is no space is affecting right now. So as soon as you add this method or function called as strip, what it does is it removes all the space within the string. Just before or after the string, whatever spaces is there, it will remove it. Let me add the note here. This function will simply remove all spaces before and after string. So before a Rakesh string, is there any space? No. After sh, there is a huge space. There is multiple spaces, right? So this all these spaces are removed just as soon as we added strip. And here, in case if we need compulsorily, if this is extremely important for us to add any space in between Rakesh and Kumar, then what we can do is we can simply do like this. We can simply add one more plus, and we can add space here. How? Just by using double inverted commas and add one character in between. So what does this do is this will add one space in between f name and l name. But here f name and l name, we need to format it by using the strip method, so that what happens is if there is any unnecessary space, because we don't know how many spaces will user add, right? So we removed all those spaces. So now if I save it and run this code, I'll get a perfect name, first name space last name, right? This is how you make use of this method strip. This is how you make use of this method called lower casing, or this is how you make use of this method called as upper casing. So we have learned modification of strings, lower, upper, and strip. This is how we learned slicing in the sense just taking out a chunk of a particular string. Okay, and this is how we learned indexing. We understood positioning and indexing. We learned how to do multi-line string. We understood how to do this, creating a string. It's as simple as that. And now let's say name variable is Bob. Okay, and now, or else we took this name variable multiple times, so let me just change it. Let's say some random variable my variable, random variable, something like that, my variable or something. Or let's say item. Okay, item variable is a chair. Chair is a item, and this value is a string, and string we have inside the variable called as item. Now here, if you see, what if I say that replace this C, the first C, with something else, B or A or K or whatever it is. So how to do that in string? So we have a function for that as well. For that we need to, let's write it like this: print, or yeah, we'll use print function. And inside print function, what we need to do, let's use item. We need to print item, but we'll use a function called as replace. What to replace? We need to replace C with let's say replace C with K. So we don't write K directly, we put the K inside double inverted comma again. So what does this mean is, hold this item variable and replace this particular, replace is a function, replace what? Replace C with K. This is what this particular code means. Okay, so if I save it now and if I run this code, our chair has been converted into khair. Okay, so this way, or let's say print item dot replace let's say R with double O. Replace R with double O. Okay, so let's me save it. Please remember, now the item is changed and item name is khair. So from khair it will be changed to something like khayo or something like that. So let me save it and run this program, and as you can see, chayo. Okay, so here what happened is, we are printing. Okay, so here we changed the name but we did not save it back to item. So if in case if I want to save it back to the item variable, then I can do something like this: item equals to, I need to copy the whole thing here, save it and run this program. So now what will happen? Khair and Khayo. So here I have saved this particular value again back into that variable. Now that Khair is converted into Khayo or something like that, right? So if I don't save it, I'm just printing it out. I'm not saving it back to the variable. Don't get confused. I completely understand that this is getting this video is very long, so you need to take a break and come back later. If it gets even longer, I'll try to make it in 2 parts or something like that. But yeah, it is extremely important. You need to understand these concepts, but you don't have to memorize anything. You simply understand it. Try to understand it. You don't have to memorize or do anything. If in case if you get doubt or if you did not understand any particular concept, please let me know in the Q&A section. I'll try to explain that particular concept once again, or make sure that you watch this video again and again and again, so that you all the questions or doubts related to strings and modifying strings will be gone from your mind. Okay, so now let's talk about splitting. How to split? Let's say we have a s variable or something like that, or let's say we have a variable called as message. Okay, message. What is a message? Message is hello, or let's say hi, this is Rakesh. Okay, so let's say this is a message. This is a string that is saved inside the variable called as message. Now if someone asks you to split this particular whole string into 2 parts, and the first part should contain hi and second part should contain Rakesh, or if someone asks you to cut this whole string, and where should I cut, they will tell that cut this string wherever you find commas. Okay, now how to do that? So the task is, I need to cut this whole string wherever I find commas. So what I can do is, I can write print, and let's say message dot split. Okay, and where do I need to split? I need to split it wherever I find comma. It's as simple as that. Now save it and run this code. Now let's see. As soon as you added this method, you you simply split this whole string wherever you find comma. So as soon as before comma we have hi, and after comma we have this is Rakesh. Let's say this sentence is even longer and we have one more comma, and let's say, and I am a developer, right? This is the whole string. So if this is the case, let me quickly save, and let me not change anything over here. I'll still split the whole string wherever I find comma. So one comma is here, second comma is here. So now there will be three parts of this particular string, right? So let me run this code. Let's go ahead and test. There are now three parts. Hi, this is Rakesh and I am a developer. So what exactly this is doing is, whenever we use a split function, it is creating a list. What is list we will see in our later videos, but for now just understand it. As by using this process we can easily cut, or technically we can use the word called as split the whole string into multiple parts. Either you can use any alphabet, or right now I have used this comma, so you can simply use alphabet H or T or whatever it is, right? All right, so now let's go ahead and see how to do concatenation. What is concatenation? Concatenation is just uh, mixing up the words, or let's say strings. Okay, so let's see. Right now we have already seen, right, this wherever we have used this plus symbol, that is what is concatenation. But again, I'll just show you an example. Let's say first sentence is, let's assume it as this is the first sentence, or let's say first word. Okay, and last sentence, this is nothing but last word. Okay, now if I save it, and what if I need to concatenate these both words together? I need to print these two words together. So what do I need to do? Print f sentence plus l sentence. This is what we used to do, right? This is what is called concatenation. It's as simple as that. Now if I run this code, I'll get what will I get? Can you guess? First word plus last word, right? And if in case if I want to add some space, what do I need to do? I need to add space here, or I need to add space here, right? I'll save it, I'll run the code, first word and last word, right? Okay, perfect. This is what is concatenation. It's all about that. It's a simple concept. Now coming to a concept called as formatting. What is formatting? Let's say, let's use the same example like before. First sentence or first word or something like that. First sentence is first word, and second sentence is not a string, but it is a let's say I guess let's say it is 45 or something, right? 45, yeah. And my sentence, this is a variable where I'll write okay, this is the complete sentence with first word. I need to type first word here with first word, so I need to type this first word here with blank, and last word is nothing but last sentence. Okay, I'll do one thing for your easy understanding. Let's say I have a variable called as name, and name is Rakesh, and age is 29, right? These are the two variables. Now if here, let's say, if I want to print a sentence called as my name is Rakesh and age is 29, if I want to print this kind of sentence, and I have one, let's say I have a variable called as introduction, which says my name is blank and age is blank. So here I want to print what I need to print these two values. So how do you print these two values here? So for that, what we use is we use flower brackets. What do we use? Flower brackets. Simply use flower brackets here. Okay, now come back here. And put your double inverted commas inside this double inverted commas. Okay, this is a string, and in this string we need to add what my name is fill in the blanks, age is fill in the blanks, and in this two blank area we need to put our age and name. So how do you do? You need to print it, this whole string, right? So what we can do is we can use this function called as print, and print what? Introduction we can print, and in introduction what we need to do is dot, use a method called as format. What do you need to format? You need to format, first thing is Rakesh, or you can say name is the first thing that you need to format, name, and the second thing that you need to format is age. Now save it. Now if you run this code and see what exactly we are asking, we are asking to print introduction. We are printing introduction, but in this introduction I want to add, in first blank space I want to add name Rakesh, and in second blank I need to add the age 29. So here I will add a method called as format, and inside format I'll add what I need to format name and format age. So right now we need to get this correct answer. Yeah, my name is Rakesh and age is 29. I think you got this answer, right? So let's say if I want to, if our sentence is like, let's say, introduction is equals to my age is blank here and name is flower bracket, in the sense blank. Instead of this, if this is the case, if this is a sentence, then how do you make sure that name goes directly inside this and age goes directly inside this? It got reversed, right? First the name was here, so it got, you might think that it will just be replaced sequentially, but what if name is in the last and age is before? Here the concept that we learned here will come into place. What is the concept that we have learned? Indexing. So here let's say if the first variable is Rakesh and second variable is 29, the first position will be 0 and second position will be 1. So here I will type 0, or let's say I need here my age is the second age I need, right? So age position is 1, so I'll type 1, and here Rakesh position is 0, so I'll type 0. And now if I use the same code, copy this, and or let's say let's simply comment it off and let's paste it here again. Name and age, format, everything is same. Now that I have clearly instructed the program that here I need to print 1th value, here I need to print 0th value. What is the 0th value? 0th value is Rakesh and 1th value is 29, right? So now if I save it and run this program, You can see my age is 29 and name is Rakesh. So no matter what is the sequence, you can use this indexing principle and make sure that correct data is added to the correct place. This is what is formatting is called, and this is what you need to know. Don't worry, you don't have to get too much expertised in this concept right away. This is the first time. If this is the first time that you are watching this video, then don't worry, you don't have to memorize anything. We will work on multiple exercises in our later videos. In our other further intermediate course or in our advanced course, we will learn very much in detail all these things. You don't have to memorize. I'll make sure that you understand and imbibe all these concepts. So right now what you need to do is you simply understand the concept, what is happening. That's it. Don't memorize. You cannot memorize all this stuff right away. Okay, so don't try to memorize it, just understand it. Wherever you don't understand something, please make sure to ask those questions. Right now, let's say escaping. I have a sentence. Let's go ahead and see what is escaping. Let's say I have a sentence. The book title is Think and Grow Rich. Okay, this is the book title and is really good book. If this is a sentence that I have, in the sense this is a string, right? I need to print this string. So let's say I copy this whole string, come back here, book. I'll add a title called as, I'll add a variable called as title, and I'll assign this value of a string. I'll print this, I'll place this whole sentence. As you can see, this is an illegal sentence. Why is it illegal sentence? Why is this illegal sentence? Because we know that we can simply write string only inside double inverted commas, right? So but as you can see, the sentence itself has inverted commas, double inverted commas, so we cannot print this particular title. Even if we try to save and run this code, we will get an error. See, syntax error, invalid error, the title, book, and blah 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 blah. So what is happening here is Python is getting confused why this guy has used this double inverted comma again and again. It is not get understanding, but our requirement is we need to use double inverted commas. So what we need to do, we can tell Python that skip this particular character. So which character we need to skip? This double inverted comma, it needs to skip, and it should not read that particular character, so that it can print the whole thing. So what I need to do, simply I need to add a backslash, so that as soon as I add backslash, it will ignore this next character. That the next character is double inverted comma. Similarly here also I'll add backslash, so that it will ignore the next character, that is nothing but double inverted commas. Now if I save it and type print title, save it and see, the book title is Think and Grow Rich, and as you can see, the Think and Grow Rich came inside the double inverted commas. So like this, if you have some special characters or something that you think that the code might get interfered or something like that, then you can use this backslash and skip that particular character. This is what escaping concept is in the string, right, in Python. Now let's move. We have understood a lot. I think this video is around 1 hour of long video, so I'll see if I think if we need to divide it in two parts, we will divide it in two parts, or else we'll keep it as a one single video you can watch over and over again. But yeah, we have understood a lot of concepts. You need to watch this video again and again, at least twice, to understand it, or else you can pause this video and practice it, and pause this video and practice it before jumping to next concept and next concept, right? So now we have 4 challenges. What are the 4 challenges? First challenge is print a character from its position. Let's say name is Suresh, right? So if the name is Suresh, then let's say if the question is print a character which is available in the third position of third index 3. Print a character which is available on index 3 or third position. If someone asks you like that, print a character that's available on third index. So what is third index? 0, 1, 2, 3. Third is E, right? So E should be printed. So let's ask Python what is the index, what is the character. So what is the code that we need to write? Print name by its index position third. It's as simple as that. Our Python will tell us, our code will tell us what is the character. The character is E, but we also knew the result beforehand itself, right? So this is how you pull out a particular character from its position, by knowing its index. And the second thing is print all the characters from the string. Let's say name is Rakesh. Okay, so if the name is Rakesh, let's say if I want to output each and every character in different lines, print all the characters from the string in new line. So what I can do is I can write a simple logic here. Logic in the sense I can use a for loop, and I can print all the characters of this particular string. So how to do that? For x in name, print x. It's as simple as that. Save it. Let's run the code and see what is the output. What is happening over here? Rakesh. Every character that is available inside this, don't go with this E. This E is nothing but this one. This is the output. That is what E is, right? So for what is the output of this particular print text? From here, R to SH, Rakesh. Each word has come into a new line. This way we can count how many numbers of lines, how many characters we have, and all those things we can easily identify using those loops. Don't worry about how to create these loops and all, for loop and all. We will understand all those things later in our future videos, in our intermediate course or in our advanced course. For this basic course, these are the simple challenges. Just for your exposure purpose, I am creating these. I'm just showing it with an example. If someone asks you what is the length of a particular character, what is the length of a particular string, let's say this is okay, I'll give you an example. Name, you can say that the length of this particular string is Rakesh 1 2 3 4 5 6. 6 is the length, right? So what if I say this is the name? This is a name. If this is a whole string, then how do you calculate the whole characters or length of a whole string? It's really difficult, right? It is not human readable. Or if this is human readable, what if you have a number that is non-human readable? Then what you need to do is, instead of manually doing it, we can do it through code by using print. And inside print, what we need to do, use this method called as length and parenthesis, and inside parenthesis we add name. That's it. It's as simple as that. Now if I run this code, what will happen? We'll get the length of a particular string. The length of this particular string is 49, right? So what if here I add this print length of what? Length of name variable. If I save it and run this program, I can see 6, because Rakesh is nothing but 6 characters, and here this particular name is of 49 characters. That's how we use method, or you can say function, called as length. And then finally, last but not least, we have one more last challenge left. What is the last challenge? Check if the word is available or not in a string. Let's say introduction. This is a variable, and what is a string here? Hey, my name is Rakesh Kumar. Okay, so here if you see, if someone asks you by giving you this variable and with this string, and if someone asks you check whether the word my is available inside variable called introduction. So what we need to do is we need to write a code that will check whether this word called as my is available inside this variable called as introduction or not. So for that, what I can do is, let's go ahead and write the code called as print double inverted comma my in. I'll use this word called as in. What is this in? In is nothing but a operator that we have learned in our last chapter. Okay, I guess I gave you a task to complete in last chapter. That is what I'm explaining here right now. So if you go to operators and if you check, I have given you task to identify and learn about these three operators, right? Out of these three operators right now, I'm teaching you this one, this operator I'm using right now. This is the condition where we can go ahead and use, and here I'm checking whether my is available in the variable called as what? Introduction. That's it. If it is true, then it will return us a true variable value, and if it is false, it will return us a false value. Since it is true, it returns us a true value. Let's go ahead and see print and see whether the word Rakesh is present in introduction variable. If it's true, it will say true. If it is false, if the word is not available, then it will tell us false. Rakesh is also available. Let's see if print Ramesh is available in the variable called as introduction, right? So now check if Ramesh is available inside introduction. So if Ramesh word is available inside this variable, then it will show true. If it is not available, it should show us false. Let's run this code and see, scroll down. Yes, it's showing us false because Ramesh word is not available in this particular variable, right? So let me clear this output. Right, so yeah, congratulations. If you have made it till the end of this video, then congratulations, you have successfully learned many concepts in strings in Python, and you should be really confident to work with strings, right? And in our advanced chapters and stuff like that, we will see how to implement this in practical projects and all, in practical exercises with more examples and all. We will see that, we'll explore it in detail. But now I understand that we have covered a lot of concept in just one video, but it was important. So in this chapter, it was important for me to cover all these concepts. So we have done it successfully. Please watch this video again and again and again and again, and wherever you think, and please don't memorize anything. You don't have to memorize anything. If you don't understand any concept or any line of code, you simply let me know in the Q&A section. I'll try to explain that particular logic or whatever it is. Or if you're getting some error, then please share that particular snippet. I'll go ahead and answer your queries, right? So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you.